Here we are, back at it again. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop.
I was 15 in the game, for you not to even know my name. I done came from the bottom, but now I'm on top. And I promise to give you everything that I got. Gotta know what it means to you, what it means.
We are back, boys and gals. All right, so let's see, what do we have popping? All right. So your boy has been going through and feeling like giving up the podcasting, but not giving up, right? So, and remember, I talked about this before, where it's like, man, am I just polishing a turd, right? Am I polishing just a piece of shit? And, you know, a part of me, I feel like, look, I might be, right? Because it's certain checks and balances that you gotta have, right? But then you gotta say, because you gotta look at it from this angle. You got to say that, look, you can't wait until the conditions are right. You can't wait until everything lines up perfectly, and right? And that's really what a lot of successful podcasters, right? We're looking at the successful podcasters, and we're saying that, okay, like, yo, they got famous, they have an audience, they have all of these things. And so when they launch a podcast, they're not just launching it into the field of sheep, right? Into the field of cows, or a field of wolves, right? It doesn't really matter. We're not saying that my audience is or is not. We're just looking at successful podcasters and saying, they have some type of leverage. They're leveraging an audience that they already have, right? So if I look at it in that light and I say, okay, well, I don't have an audience, so what am I leveraging? And then it's just leveraging one person at a time, right? So with that in mind, it's like, okay, well, that's not a turd, right? We're not polishing a turd if we're out and we're out there connecting with the people, and we're just getting one listener. We're connecting with one person, just one person finds value, then it's not a turd. But it's hard for me to look at, and it's not just others, right? Because we know that comparison is the easiest way to unhappiness. We know that. I can't compare myself to anyone but myself. I can say, all right, was I consistent for the whole of last year? Or how long were my episodes? All of the episodes that I did, were they at least this? So I can set personal goals and benchmarks for myself based off of my previous output, but I can't look at Joe Rogan or Chris DiStefano. That's one I really like. Chrissy D, man, he's just so funny. And a lot of these guys are funny, just conversationalists. You just hear him talk. Bert Kreischer, Theo Vaughn, Brendan Schaub, right? That whole gang, Joe Rogan, that whole gang. I mean, they're just They're just fun guys. You just want to listen to them talk. So you have to say, okay, all right, I'm not none of them, but I'm still adding value, right? I'm still adding value. So it's not a turd. But at the same time, like I said, I'm not comparing myself to them, but I'm looking at stock. So we have stock in, I'm changing the levels a little bit. I don't want to be too loud, but we have stock in Go-Go Boingo chips, or the Go-Go Boingo token. So we brought a few Go-Go Boingo, or what's another one? Was it Safe Moon? These tokens and coins that just went nowhere. I want to say it was Safe Moon was one. So you buy Safe Moon and you're holding on to it for however long, and the people who created it, they created it to be a pump and dump. They created it for people like you and me to put our money in to buy it, and then they would just go ahead and sell, and then the prices and the value of the coin, though, the token, would drop down, and now we're left holding the bag. So now I have 3 million Safe Moons, or 300 million Safe Moon coins, or however many, and it's not worth a penny. So you just end up wasting money. You end up wasting money and time and emotional freedom, because you're constantly looking, oh, does Safe Moon go up? Are they going to hold? Are they going to sell? Is it doing what it's supposed to do? Each time someone gets rid of it, they burn 1 million tokens, and your price goes up, right? Is that stuff happening? And it's like, look, that's what they told you to sell it. But really, they just wanted to make a bunch of money, take some real money. They wanted real money, right? So they trade me, hey, look, give me your real money and I'll give you this bullshit, Laudo. That's what I'll do. I'll give you this bullshit. And just hold on to it. Hold on, baby. And I'm going to take this real money that's worth some real value, and I'm going to go buy a watch. I'm going to go buy me a Rolex. I'm going to go buy me a Lamborghini. I'm going to go buy a Bugatti. I'm going to go buy a mansion. I'm going to go fly. I'm going to go pop a few models and pop a few bottles. So they're telling me what's valuable. It's not the thing that I'm buying, but the thing that I have. That's what they're telling me. They're saying, yo, you are valuable as a person. That's all you need. And I need it too. What you have in your pocket is valuable to me. What I have in my pocket is not valuable to me because I wouldn't give it to you. If you ask me for my Rolex, I'm not going to give it to you. If you ask me for anything of value that I have, I'm not going to give it to you. And if I trade it to you, if I'm not desperate, I'm trading for a profit. I'm trading up. So now I got to look at you, and I got to look at your platform, and I got to say, all right, you want me to give you some real hard-earned cash right now. That's what you value, and you're going to give me something that may or may not become valuable years later, because you really don't care about that. So now when we look at the podcast, I got to say, all right, because remember, we brought up DeStefano, we brought up Schaub and Theo Vaughn and all of the guys that you may listen to on your podcasting. So then you got the networks, right? This is how they house and publish the podcast, how I publish the podcast. So that network, so when we're looking at it, is it that, you really need a large audience and a large fan base and a way to reach large scale people in order to truly leverage this? Because those people are all doing it for money. Even when we say Joe Rogan didn't do it for money, right? But he was already making a lot of money. He already had Fear Factor. He already had the UFC. So podcasting for him, it wasn't about making money because he already had money. And by the time I got to him, he already had sponsors. So he was already making money. And he was already famous. So if we look at the model, I gotta say, like, yo, I mean, do I have to be famous? Which I don't believe that you have to be famous. I just feel like you need an audience. You need a way to get in front of people. And because it's really not about the product, it's about you, the person. Just like when we went back to buying coins and tokens, it's like, yo, you are valuable to me because I want your money. So buy my token, and that way I can get your money. So now, as I'm looking at the podcasting, I gotta say, is it just my money? Like, these publishers who publish these podcasts, are they just like, look, and you get this even in music, where it's like, look, man, I really don't give a fuck about this artist. And a profanity warning. But this is how they speak. This is how it is. They say, look, I don't give a fuck about this artist that I am promoting to people. I don't care. This guy's gonna fucking flop. Look, his music is shit. It's trash. Okay. But the label is taking a gamble because he has X number of followers. He has a little buzz. So the label, they're gamblers. That's all these record labels are doing. These record companies, they're just gambling. They're saying like, yo, all right, just throw some shit on the wall and see what sticks. So if we get 10 artists and we give them all 100,000, right? That's all you're doing. You're saying, look, I'm going to invest 100,000. I'm going to invest $1 million. But if it pops, then I'm going to get, I might get 100 million. I might get, over the course of a lifetime of an artist. And his first works, if we get his first works, then we have everything we need. Now, that's how they look at it. So when they see an individual artist, they're ready to gamble. So the manager or the representative or the person who is shopping these deals, they could stumble along because a lot of times they're bitter. They didn't make it in their music career. They didn't make it as rappers. They didn't make it. So they look at these young kids and they're like, oh, all right, the people like the pop top bop, right? Man, that's some bullshit. The pop top bop, but it's killing. The young kids they like it. The young kids like the pop top bop. TikTok likes the pop top bop. This thing is blowing up. You just so happen to be lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time. And it's either someone's cousin or someone's brother or someone's nephew. They're like, yo, he did the Lil Joey did the top pop box or whatever, right? The pop top bop. And he did it. It's like, oh man, yeah. Yo, he blowing up. Oh, he blowing up. Yeah, he got like 1 million. He already up to 10 million views on TikTok. Wow. Yeah, I'll manage him. I'll shop him around. You go, the person goes, gets the deal, locks in the deal, right? So management's supposed to get maybe 20%, maybe 10, 15. Well, I would say 15, 20%. Just depends on the type of deal that they have. But they get 50. Let's go with 15 to 30% off of this deal. But they really can't, let's say you're wise, even if you're greedy, let's say you're just greedy, you got to tax that. look, they going to tax that 30%, that 15, that 20%. You got to pay taxes on that, homie. So look, how can we get some tax free? Especially if you don't care about little Joey and the pop top bop. All right, what can we do? Well, let's say on the video we can get money off of the video. We can get some of that money off of the music, the production. So now we can sign them to a production deal with my cousin Jamie or my brother Sabe or whoever. We can do some type of deal with them to where, all right, I'm going to pay y'all. Let's say I'm going to pay y'all out of this $1 million budget. I'm a on paper pay y'all $50,000 for this music video, but I'm actually giving you 10 and I'm going to take the other 40, right? Cause I don't really care. And I'm already upset. I'm just trying to get all the money I can get. So now I have to look at these I have to look at these companies like that. I have to look at, all right, I'm publishing. It's not free for me to bring this to you guys. It's not free. I have to pay. So is it just like the coin where they're like, look, we just want your money. I really don't care about your podcast, Bo. I don't care about the artistry of. I don't care how many listeners you have. I don't care about none of that. Only thing I care about is if you paying your monthly dues, because I'm taking that money that you giving me. That's what I want. You want a podcast up on Apple and Spotify and all of these other platforms, but I just want your $20 a month. Cause if I can get 1,000 of you suckers, man, that's $20K a month. If I can get 100,000 of you cocksuckers, man, that's like what, $2 million a month. Right? So it's like, yo, I really don't care who listens. And that's fine. That's not a problem. I don't need my distributor to care whether or not I fail or succeed, but I have to see what it is. I have to see the terrain for what it is. Because if it's, look, I just need your $20 a month. That's really all I need. So then if you need it, well, then I need it, right? It was good for my grandmother. 'Twas good for my grandmother. It was good for my grandmother. It's good enough for me. Right? So if the company, if my distribution company is telling me I'm in the business of getting people to give me $20, that's the business that I'm in, and it's lucrative because I got suckers like you, well then hell, that's the game I need to be in. Why am I in this game where I need, let's say if I had 20,000 listeners, I believe, so if I had 20,000 monthly listeners, I believe that I could then start getting advertising. But what type of advertising? Well, if we look at YouTube, which YouTube and streaming and all of that stuff really sets the bar. It sets the standard. You need 1 million. So all of these platforms, you need 1 million, right? That's when you really start to really talk about the money that you're making. All right, if I get 1 million streams, this is what 1 million streams equates to. If I get 100,000 streams, this is what 100,000 streams, because ultimately that 100,000 streams, you do it 10, right? 10 times, boom, now you're at the million. So the million is the mark. So YouTube says that per million you can get around 2 to 6,000, I would say 2 to 8,000, right? We've covered this before, but if we said these publishing companies who publish, then we would say, okay, we know that one person is 20 at least. I would say at least 5, because their bottom tier is like 5, and even if it was free, then you would have paid or just user base. So if you have a large enough user base, then you can say, all right, so per every 100 free accounts, we get 10 paid accounts. So now look, we just need to get in front of more people. You can start to look at the math, do the math, and say, where are our people who are signing up for this? Where are they located? So if we got a huge surge of them in California, or we got a huge surge of them in Virginia or New York or Florida, you could say it, and then it's like, boom. So if we already have a bunch of them there, look, I'm sure more and more people want to podcast as well. So let's advertise, and let's let them know that they can create these free accounts. So you can start doing the numbers so that you can grow and become profitable. So if you got 1 million paid, we already know if you got 1 million paid subscribers at $20, which they even have larger numbers, but at $20, boom, that's $20 million a month. Whereas we said over on the streaming side of town, a million streams only get you between $2,000 to $8,000 versus $20 million a month. So looking at that scale, it's like, man, well, that's the business to be in, because they're just preying on suckers like me. They're not even worried about Joe Rogan's and whoever the newest comedian / celebrity who wants to get in, because that's really what it's about. If you have fame, if you just can leverage your audience, and now you have a product, because the product is the podcast. We know that people are going to listen. We know that people just look, you cleaning a house, you're driving to work. So people are listening. So if you have a large audience, you're an actor, just anything, it doesn't matter. You have commercials. You're just a commercial actor. Boom, people going to be listening. Right? So just looking at it that way, it's like, they're fine. And because people are listening, because they're famous, now they can get advertisers. So like I'm saying, I just have to look at the terrain and see it for what it is and make a decision based off of that logic. People who are famous, they can start a podcast, start a YouTube or on their Instagram. These are all free methods, and then they can get people to come to their podcast. So I have to look at, and I really have to do this. I just really have to look at what I'm doing. What I'm doing, is it cost effective? Now, okay, so it's $200 a year. And this is where I feel like we can't be too hard on ourselves, right? We can't be too hard on ourselves. And the reason why I say that is because, all right, $20 a month. All right, am I spending that? I'm spending that in food. Just this past 2 weeks, I've spent $20. I would say just this past week. So past 2 weeks, I spent $50 on just eating at McDonald's and Chipotle for lunch, which I'm not even I don't even want to eat there because I know that it's not healthy far as just hypertension, high blood pressure. It's not healthy. Cholesterol. It's just going to be a lot healthier if you eat from home and more cost effective. So, all right. Now, I'm not gaining no type of listeners or followers when I eat or drink. But yet I'm still, so I can spend over $20 a month and I'm not impacting nobody. I'm not causing no type of impact on anyone versus spending $20 a month and I'm impacting one person. Because really, if I'm saying that I'm polishing a turd, it's because I'm comparing myself to the quote unquote celebrity guys. But when I just compare myself to milkshakes and eating out and just eating drinks, just eating, drinking and just frivolous, this is just, look, I have some disposable income. Am I making an impact? Am I reaching one person when I buy that milkshake, when I buy those Big Macs and those fries? Am I reaching one person and causing some type of positive impact on their life, which I just frivolously spending? I know I'm spending more than $20 a month. So I'm spending more than $20. I'm not causing no impact. I'm not impacting. I'm not helping someone. They might be feeling down. Anything could be going on. And I'm spending all of that money and it's not making a difference in their life, in no one's life. But here I'm questioning my $20, which I am making I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact. I'm doing the Lord's work. Even if it's just for one person, even if just one person listens and say, look, man, I like Bo. He's a good guy. It just makes me think of Phil the Issues guy and Joe Dirty Locks. Like, I love those guys. I don't know them, right? But I love them. I just watch his shows. You get the, I was watching and I was about to say right? Boss, sick. But I was watching The Last of Us and they're watching it. And so they're talking. I just get to listen and just be a part of the conversation and have my ideas. And then I'll type up my comments in the comment section on YouTube. Right. And I wish that they were on, Apple, because that's where I consume the large majority of my podcast is on Apple. And then, like I said, I do, if DJ Academic, if he has a good episode that if he's really interviewing or talking about something that I really want to listen to, then I'll check him out. But see, if he uploaded his streams for his podcast, I would listen to those as podcasts, right? Like, I would listen to him. So I would listen to him more if he did that. But just when he interviews people, then it's like, well, do I want to hear this person or not? I don't really know that person. I don't really care. Right. So when it's more interview based, then it's like, all right, do I really want to hear what this person is talking about? Because a lot of times, like, your hip hop interviews are just trash. Really. I mean, they really are. That's why I don't do them. That's why, like, look, and it's no shots fired or anything, but I mean, it just, because you're not interviewing the real person. And comedians, you hear them talk about this a lot. And Chris Rock, he got some criticism from some comedians that I like, and they just, and I felt the same way when I watched his special. And what I didn't like about his special, it was the voice. That's what they call it. The voice. Hey, you know, and then I never, it's like, yo, man, nah, bro, I don't want to hear that shit no more. Like, yo, that was 94, 90, whatever it was. And it was fresh back then. I'm not going to lie. Like, yo, back when I was a kid, I did childish things, right? Childish. And as a man, I put away those childish things, or however the saying goes. And that's how I think just today's landscape, it's like, yo, once he really started talking, that's when I really got engaged and I really liked it, right? And people, they were even talking about another special that he did where he didn't even do the voice. He was just doing straight up commentary comedy, just speaking on his life and speaking on things without that voice. And that made me want to go and watch that. Like, oh man, he doing just regular. Yo, let me go see that. Cause the voice, like, yo, I don't want the voice. Like, yo, that old, yo, nah, dummy. Like, yo, nah, dumbass. Like, so I bring all of that up because I am making a difference in at least one person. So when I spend the $20, okay, I'm not Rogan, I'm not Chris Rock, I'm not anyone famous, but I am just like Phil, just a regular person, and someone likes what I'm doing just the way that I'm doing it. So one person out there in the world likes what I'm doing, what Bo Miles is doing, the way that I'm doing it, the topics, things that I talk about, even if it's just they can't even tell you what I'm talking about. They can just tell you that, look, he be talking about his life and he be trying to encourage people. So I don't know what's his beliefs. I don't know. He does view himself as a bad guy. That's all I can tell you. That's good. That's good. That's good enough for me. It was good enough for me. So with that in mind, then we have to say that, yo, no, you're not polishing a turd. And this just takes us into just not being so hard on yourself, allowing you to be you. And this is something that I had to learn just with my kids. I had to allow them to just be them. And it's hard because I'm so hard on myself, and just by them being my kids, and I'm hard on them as just an extension of myself. But I had to realize, and even if it was only yesterday, I just had to realize that, like, yo, stop being so hard on them. Like, the world is going to beat them down enough. So this is my advice to any of you listeners out there. If you got any kids, any family members, a spouse, just whoever, like, and yourself, like, don't be hard. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on your kids, and don't be so hard on your spouse. Yeah, we know that the world is tough. We know that the world will beat you up. The world will gut you like a pig and watch you bleed out. We know this. This isn't new. Look, we know it. They don't know it, but we know it. And we want to get them ready, but it's okay. It's really okay. Enjoy the time. Enjoy what you're going through. Enjoy the process. We spoke on this before, but we have to return to it, because just like walking from New York to LA, eventually, sometimes or at some point, you're going to get lost. If you don't have a compass, you don't have it lined out on the road, at some point between your journey from New York, some point from you're walking from New York to LA, at some point you're going to get lost. And in those moments, you need something to help get you back on track. So this is why sometimes we have to reiterate, we have to say it again and again and again. Don't be so hard on yourself. Enjoy the process. Don't be so hard on your loved ones. We have to remind ourselves, because when you're walking from New York to LA, you're going to get lost. So we have to remind ourselves. And that's why I would encourage you guys, no matter what you're trying to do in your path, you're trying to become whatever, you're trying to make whatever. That's why it's so good, and people recommend this, but create that vision board. Have images of the things that you want, so that in the moments when you do get lost and you feel discouraged and you feel like giving up, you can look to that board and remember. You can look on those pictures, maybe on the wall or the closet or your computer screen or your phone saver or your phone wallpaper or backdrop, or just anywhere, wherever you have to put it. But put words, right? Put phrases, put things that will jog your memory, that will be like little, I guess, road signs. There's a specific word that they're called. I just can't think of what they're called, but put those things and fill your rooms and the spaces that you occupy. Fill it with those things, with the things that you're trying to obtain and the places that you're trying to go. Just because we know that in these long journeys, it's easy to get lost, especially once you fall asleep. You could be traveling, whatever, and you fall asleep and wake up. And like I said, if you don't have anything, it's just you. That's it. That's all it is. You in a tent, and you're just walking from New York to LA. You will lose track of the days. You'll lose track if you're going north, south, east, west. Rough Riders gonna show you niggas who ride the best. Do y'all bust your guns? Damn right, we bust our guns. Do you come to you till they come? Like, oh man, these boys are horny. Right? But keep that stuff. Keep that stuff in your life. So in those moments that you get lost and you get off track a little bit, you can look and remember, like, oh yeah. And that takes us to something that I was thinking about earlier. Now, I am going to share the progression of the show. Like, I'm going to start introducing current events, right? That way, just kind of break up the monotony. Like I said, what I'm doing is working for someone. Someone is finding enjoyment. Someone is, this is helping them when they drive, or during their breaks, or when they washing clothes, or just when they're riding on the train, right? So this style of what we're talking about, this is helping someone. Only thing I'm doing moving forward is just to supplement what these type of conversations. We're going to supplement. We're going to add or complement. We're going to complement these with current events. And it's not just like politics. Oh, Trump is this or Biden not. Because I really don't care about that. I really don't. I don't care about it. And that's not to say that you shouldn't. I mean, hey, but if you do care about it, I'm sure you listen to people and you find that type of stuff. So you don't need me to talk about it and to give my opinion, because you already have someone that's giving their opinion. But things like movies, TV shows, fights, right? Like I really wanted to speak on the John Jones fight. So that would have been last week. And then we're going to have up and coming fights. So I'm going to be watching more UFC, and I'm going to be giving my opinion on that. But that's not the only thing. Like I said, it's just going to complement. It's just going to be like an appetizer or dessert. We're still going to have our main course and our main dish, which is going to be extrapolating on life and having that roadmap, being a source of inspiration. That's what I would say. I would say that this podcast is like your regular Joe. I'm just your regular Bo, just trying to help people just move forward and to stay motivated and to stay positive and to come up with different ideas on how they're going to do or not do some stuff. That's going to be the meat and potatoes of the podcast. That's what it has been since I came back. Before I left, when it was me and Fid Lou, and shout out to Fid, right? Shout outs to Fid. But before I left, we covered current events. So I want to kind of reintroduce that again. But it's just not going to be, so like I said, it's not going to be as long. So the episodes are not going to be 2 hours. Because usually if I have a person, especially if we're talking, we're having a good conversation, then I would like 2 hours, 90 minutes to 2 hours. I would even say 3 hours, right? I like 3 hour podcasts, especially if the conversation is good. But when it comes to just me solo, I feel like I'm not there yet. I'm not there to speak for 3 hours, but hopefully one day I will be. And that it will be interesting and which, like I said, I don't think that with just one person, 3 hours, but so one person, I would say an hour and a half, 90 minutes for one person. So that would be, but I mean, like I said, the conversation is busting 2 hours, right? 2 hours tops, because on a 2-man job, that would be 4 hours. A 4 hour podcast, that's long as now. So that's how we're going to do moving forward. I'm going to introduce. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start, and I can do this now, is create in my notes, a podcast topics. So let's see if I already got it. I don't believe I do. So nope. So I'm in my notes. I'm just going to create a podcast topics, which I thought I did. I have it before, but I guess not. Nope, I'm not seeing it. So, okay. All right. So we'll create something. We'll create it new. And podcast topics. And what I'll do is I will create a bullet points. So boom, I created the title, and since we're recording, today is Wednesday, and we're going to, no, today is Tuesday. All right. And we're going to release it Wednesday. Here, let's see. I need to pull up the calendar. All right, there we go. So the next episode, so we're going to be getting ready topics for 3/29. So 3/29/23. That way I know, okay, any type of topic that I come up with, things that come across my mind, I'll come in there on my phone and I'll look at these bullet points. And as I'm talking, then I'll speak on it. Because we had a rape, an attempted rape. There was a guy, he was attempting to rape a woman, and he failed. He failed, and I mean it was just crazy. It was crazy, and it was like, yo, man, what is this guy doing? And just think, like, just to watch, it was just crazy, right? So we're gonna do that, and then that way we can do the video. So it's gonna be like the reaction, because I was doing that for a little bit where it was a reaction. But see, the only thing is just the time to edit and cut everything up is like, yo, man, I really don't have time for that. But if I can just schedule a time. So let's say it's a 2-hour time where we talk and we record, and then that way I can just, so the first hour would be talking, and then the second hour would be cutting it up and then putting it into small pieces. So we'll try something like that. But like I said, I definitely want to get to where I'm video, right? Because then that way that can help us grow on YouTube. But it's not, look, man, it's really not even about, look, growth will come. We know that true growth comes with exposure. So, all right, if we're putting out all of this content because we want some exposure, and eventually we can get into a position where it all transfers over to the podcast. But then because we just got to look at the whole life cycle. We want to do all of that because we want to grow our fan base. We want to grow our listeners so that we can get advertising, grow the YouTube so that we can monetize. So, but if you're looking at it like that, we're actually putting the cart before the horse, because successful people, they show us that this vehicle is really about enhancing something that you're already doing. So what am I already doing? So whatever that is, this can enhance that, not the other way around where I'm doing all this other stuff trying to enhance this. It just doesn't work like that. So like I said, all right, we got one person that finds joy and fulfillment from the artistry of podcasts, then let's continue to keep giving that one person the consistency, so that no matter what, when the rain may come, the artistry of podcasts can be like an umbrella on that day and protect them from the rain, when bad thoughts or anything that I don't want people to feel when that day should come for you, then the podcast will be here, to make you laugh or to make you think or to make you just feel like, yo, I can do this, right? Bo said that, so hopefully I don't got to go through that. Now, the other thing that was on my mind was the story of Paul. This is the Bible story. And I don't know how people interpret. So, however, for my church goers, I'm not going to, I don't care how your pastor said this and broke it down. Right? This is not for the congregation of the first church of Jesus Christ and the saints go marching in. This is not for y'all, right? Whatever he said, just stick with that, right? So I'm not here to conflict anything. But just thinking about that story, Paul, he was on the road, and I feel like I want to say Damascus, but you know how it is. Like, all these stories kind of run together. So I don't know if he was on the road to Damascus, or if somebody was on the road to Damascus, or if Wyclef was on the road to Damascus. Like, I don't even know, but he was on the road, and he gets knocked down. He gets knocked off of his horse, right? So, and my brother, we talked about this before, so this idea just isn't mine, but it stuck with me when my brother was saying, and he was saying how we as people, we have our the human or the godlike or the higher being, and then we have the animal, which is man. So we have these two things, and they're always, I can't say they're always fighting, but because they can be in harmony, and other people have proven this. But it takes some work. And a lot of times, you feel like you're steering the horse, right? You're steering your body, And then sometimes your body bucks, and then you have to dig in your heels and get it back on track. And sometimes you can be going your body, right? That horse, that animal is taking you somewhere where you don't want to go, but you haven't really learned how, and you haven't mastered how to control the animal that's called man. Now, we are getting into my beliefs right now. So, like I say all the time, this is just a disclaimer because I truly want people to believe what they want to believe, right? Like, I truly believe that. And that's what I truly want. I don't want to convert anyone. I don't want people to feel like what they are doing is wrong, because I believe in self-belief, right? So I bring up that disclaimer because, like I said, we're about to get into my true beliefs. Now, I believe that we are an idea. If we look at video games, and you look at video game characters, and you get certain models, and you get so you can have the wizard, you can have the so you got the wizard, the person who uses magic, you have the person who uses stealth, you have the person who so I'm speaking of Skyrim, you have the thief, you have the strong in melee, right? He can use two-handed swords, or sometimes they're just strong with one-handed swords and a shield. So you have all of these different types, and I can't think of the name of this, but it's like a character select screen, and you get to go through all the different types. Now, I feel like we are like that as people. Like ideas, and that's why I say that we're ideas, that the core of humanity is an idea. So you have the idea of man, and then you have man, the animal. So the idea, there, like Skyrim, there's only a certain amount of ideas, right? There's only a certain amount of character variations that you can go through. So if you just grab everyone, you can find, and I know we all like to believe that we're all unique and special. We are special, special. Everyone is special, right? So we believe that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you grab every person, they're going to fit into a certain category of a person. So you can have 10 people who all fit in a certain character type, and a certain model, right? They resonate with this idea for this time, because people change. You change ideas. Whoever you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you may not be that person. And a lot of times we don't even realize that we have changed. It's only until someone will say it. Oh, man. Or you'll look at something that you used to look at and be, oh, man, how could I watch this? Right. So that's just showing you the growth that you've experienced. So people change in their likes and dislikes, and what they're on and what they're not on. So we can change ideas, but certain things are at the core of us as an idea, whether it's stubbornness or open-mindedness or just whatever. It doesn't, that part doesn't matter, but the idea of man. So those are our two parts that we have: the idea, and then the actual physical animal. Now, the physical animal is not an idea. The animal needs to breathe. If you put the animal in water, submerge the animal called man, you submerge him into water, he will, and you just all the way down, he will drown. it doesn't matter if he wants to or not. If we keep feeding people, they will poop or pee. Let's say they can't anymore. Something shut down that at their I'm thinking it's not reproduction, it's not respiratory, digestive. Something shut down the digestive system. The body is going to find a way to grab all the nutrients and then get rid of the food. The body's going to do that. This is the animal part of man. It has nothing to do with the idea, his likes, and purple is my favorite color, right? Like, so that's where we have those two different distinctions. And like I was saying with Paul, this relates to all of us, that sometimes the body, the animal of man, can be going somewhere where our idea for the moment, our the quote unquote who we are, it's like, oh man, no, this is not where I want to go. This is not where I want to be. This is not what I want to do. Right? The animal of man can get hooked onto heroin, cocaine, and any other addiction. Addiction is a part of the animal of man. We're all addicted to something. The idea says that this is wrong. The idea says that heroin is wrong. And then someone will say, well, yeah, because when you're on heroin, you're killing yourself. I mean, but we all have a date that we're going to go. So what's the date? Oh, but you shouldn't want to go, like, right? See, so that's an idea. The animal is not an idea. And the animal says that, yo, you are going to die one day. Somehow, some way. So whether it's heroin or high blood pressure or heart attack or stroke or dementia, or it doesn't matter what, a car accident, shot, gunned down, stabbed, slip, choke, what is that? Asphyxiation. The animal is going to go, but the idea of man continues. And I think that is the greatest attribute of us as humans, is the idea of man, because that transcends through time. The idea lives longer than the animal, right? The idea of man lives longer than the animal. We can find people, they might not have to be exactly the same way, right? Like I think of my good buddy Var, or Ben. I speak about Ben because he was like my twin. And it's crazy how I didn't even realize it until the moment that he was about to die. That's when I could see that, like, yo, we really do look like each other. Like, and it's crazy, but that makes me think, you know how they speak about time travel, and you know how in movies, when you go back in time, you see yourself in these movies, they'll see themselves from a distance, or they'll see some things from a distance, and they'll know exactly what it was and how it was. But that's not the truth. I believe that in time travel, when you go back, and if I'm ever in a position to make movies, which you just never know. I mean, I hope one day I will, but this is how my movie would go. And it would be, you would go back in time, and you know, my friends, they know that I love M. Night Shyamalan, so I'm always putting some type of twist into my movies. But they leave their current point in time, and they go back to a place where they feel like it was, like they feel like they're in an alternate universe, right? So they feel like they're in an alternate universe, but they went back into they went back into the past. But the thing that they didn't take account for was not being able to recognize themselves. We have this idea that, okay, when I go back to visit my 10-year-old self, I'm going to know my 10-year-old self. I'm going to know where he is, what he looks like. I'm going to know all of that because I was there. But it's like, nah, you won't. you won't know. You would not recognize your 10-year-old self. You believe that you would, but you would not recognize him or her. Just like if you go, let's say you go 50 years into the future to see yourself, but would you even recognize yourself 50 years from now? And 9 times out of 10, it would be no. And that 50-year-old person, your 50-year-old self or your 10-year-old self, he wouldn't or she wouldn't recognize you as being the future or the past of themselves, right? We have this idea that we would recognize when we watch Back to the Future, like, oh yeah, Marty goes back and he sees Doc and, oh, Doc, and Doc looks the same, just a little bit younger, but nah, bro. When you go back into the past and you go to visit Doc, like, yo, he's not going to look like how he looked. And not just, oh, he's a lot younger. I mean, there's so many, it's just subtle differences that's not there, right? And of course, for movies, I mean, that's going to be hard and boring just depending on who you are to actually execute that type of thing. But I feel like that's still important, right? That going time travel, because they would say, oh, could you kill your grandfather? It's like, no, you can't kill him, because if you kill him, then it's a paradox. But the truth is, would you even recognize these people? Would you even recognize anything that you're seeing? We all believe that we would, it's just like I remember it. But the memory is not as good as you think it is. Like, the memory is not as good as you think. So that's what my movie would play on. But like I was saying, just with the idea, right? So as we find ourselves, even me included, like just questioning the podcast, questioning the things that I'm doing, there's a discord or some type of dissonance. There's a dissonance between the idea of Bo and the animal Bo. There's some dissonance there, and that has to be reconciled. That has to be, we have to try to create some type of, resonance, some type of harmony. We have to do that. So, and we did some checks and balances, and we said, like, yo, because the idea of Bo was looking at the idea of Joe Rogan, looking at the idea of Brendan Schaub, looking at the idea of Theo Vaughn, the idea of Kevin Hart, right? Looking at the idea of all of these other things, as opposed to looking at the animal Bo, seeing where Bo is, seeing what Bo is doing, looking at the idea of Bo, self-examining and saying, like, yo, this is good. We are helping. This is good. So we have to do that from time to time. We have to remember that it's sometimes we have to get knocked off of our horse. We have to get knocked off of the animal to really have some type of true growth, and so that we can change for the better. Those of us that want to change. If you don't want to change, then look, I mean, who am I? I can't tell you to change. Right? Your idea of but some things are like, yo, like just the passion, hatred, and anger. Like, yo, that's all the animal right there. So it's hard to get away from that type of stuff. And we like to believe, such and such is a racist, and that ain't right, and that ain't this. But it's like, yo, is racism an idea, or is it a part of the animal? Because, and I feel like it's a part of the animal, because we're saying that it's racism, but we're going to find it in anything, even if, so we're all the same race, we're still going to find that discord. I don't like you because of this, or I don't like you because of that. Like, we're still going to find it. Different shades are going to feel the blow. And then if we're all the same color, we're all just one solid same color, then we're going to find whatever that difference is, whether it's bone structure or just whatever is. But that just lets you know that it's more than just an idea, because it's always there. Even if we're able to check ourselves, right? We're driving along, we're driving down the road. We know that we can turn certain places because, all right, there's no cars coming. So we know, all right, we're at the light. There's no cars coming. We need to make a left-hand turn, which will cut across traffic. The light is red. No cars in sight. Sometimes people won't take that light. They'll just wait it out, right? So we have the ability to make a decision. The mind is strong to say, nah, hold off on those animal urges, right? Even sexual urges. The mind can say, look, whoa, boy, whoa, the horse is going hard. We do have the ability to fight that. Now, some people give into it. Sometimes, like I said, even just when we think about assaults like that, okay, who is leading? Is it the mind of man, the idea of man, or is it the animal of man? And just both of them, like, the animal of man has overthrown the idea of man, right? And you see that with like racism. You see that with rape, sexual assault, because if it's in the animal kingdom, right, far as you can go to any other animal and see these type of traits, well, then this is a product of the animal. This has nothing to do with ideas. You'll see people who commit crimes, commit murders and other crimes, and then after, and those on the moment they blacked out. Well, who's taking charge? What's taking charge? What's in control? I remember blacking out, and it's not even like you just black out, but when you just look back over the things that you've done, and you say, man, why would I do that? Right? I'm not thinking clearly. Well, then the animal of man is in control. You're trying to ride, and the animal of man is just bucking the idea and just boom, look, man, I don't care what you're saying, idea. Right? So it's very frail. We believe that it's strong, but it's not. So that's that. We're definitely going to get back into that because I feel like there's a lot to unpack far as trying to create that harmony, that resonance, and to create that resonance with the animal and the idea. So we'll pick it back up. But until then, Reese's pieces.
Everyday life, friends and family.